So how did the polls do? Okay. First of all, we could do a course looking at the map. So this is the map made before the election day. This is the map made after the election day. These gray states were all deemed too close to call. And in fact, when the election, you see how long these all took till well after 11 o'clock Eastern time to actually get a call on most, if not all, of these gray states. So the gray states went pretty well in that respect. The thing that I think probably throws people is, boy, a lot of these gray states actually went for Trump. Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Michigan. And that's 6 states going for Trump, whereas Maine, Colorado, New Mexico, and Nevada all went for Hillary Clinton. And Arizona and New Hampshire are still toss-ups. So it's not a perfect 50-50 split, but it's not bad. Take a look, and we've got all these blue states were supposed to go for Hillary Clinton. Well, only one of them, including Hawaii, only one of them, Wisconsin, didn't actually do that. All the rest of the states, so let's see, Washington, Oregon, and California are blue on the final map. Minnesota and Illinois, blue on the final map. New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, and Maryland, all blue on the projected map, and they are all blue on this map here. Okay? Finally, there's the red states. So there's one mistake so far, Wisconsin. All the red states. Did any of the red states turn blue? I am pretty sure not. Let's just see out in our western region, west of the red zone, Texas on up. This streak went red here. This streak went red on the final map. This cluster of states here went red, and this cluster of states went red on the final map. This cluster in the southeast went red here, including Indiana. This cluster of states here all went red on the final map. So basically, in terms of that final projection, there's really only one true error. That would be Wisconsin. Wisconsin missed. Again, how terrible is that? Well, remember, we're going through a process that works 95% of the time. 5% of the time, it doesn't work. Looks like this missed the target about 2% of the time. So there's one piece of information that's worth it. Yeah, it's not so bad. Second thing I'd ask you to consider is, yes, we've got all these states, and it did seem like Donald Trump seemed to run them. Though actually that appearance is, I think, questionable, because again, Nevada, Colorado, Maine, Virginia, and New Mexico. 5 of these states went for Hillary Clinton. We've got Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. 7 of these states went for Donald Trump. And hopefully I counted that right. But it's roughly an even split either way. Okay, so that's not so bad. But even if it were kind of a run and all these tended to go toward one candidate, that's not necessarily a bad thing, or it's not necessarily a failure of polling, because it's a failure of a term we use called the coin flip or the toss-up. So the fact is, we look at these states up here, these grayed out states, and the status they were given was a toss-up. Toss-up means it's just like tossing a coin. And heads, you get a win. Tails, you get a loss. Okay? And that would make sense for a single race. But when we stack them all up as 12 in a row, this is not like 12 toss-ups. So even though each of these states is like a toss-up, it's not like 12 straight toss-ups. Because in toss-ups, in a real toss-up, you toss the first coin, it comes up heads. Tossing the second coin still has a 50% chance of heads, 50% chance of tails. Toss the third coin, it still has 50% chance of heads, 50% chance of tails. Elections don't behave like that. So for example, the announcement on Friday night affected the election. Let's say it affected it that James Comey came out with a statement that these email case was going to be subject to some more review. Well, if that affected states, that's going to probably affect them all somewhat in the same direction. You're not going to have a situation where Nevada maybe loves seeing another investigation, whereas Georgia hates seeing another investigation. It's probably, if something like that affects them, it affects them all the same way. And that's just one thing. It could be anything that would come up, in that closing argument, Donald Trump maybe had a great last commercial. Okay, again, it would affect all of these states roughly the same way. And so these are not necessarily independent coin flips, and therefore it's not as unusual as you think for the vast majority of them to go in one direction. So I hope that explains what happened here. Well, a little bit of insight into the polling, a little bit of insight into the actual reports of polls being margin of error, and a little bit of insight as to how bad the polls did or did not screw up. I know they disappointed people in terms of they wanted to know the night before, well, who's going to win this doggone election? But in reality, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. They gave us a real good idea coming in as to where things were, what to watch, when important states were going. Then we got to realize, oh, the real biggies, the big deal breakers in Michigan and Pennsylvania came awfully late, and we knew that's what we were going to end up waiting for. So polls did pretty good, even if most of them didn't actually predict Hillary Clinton the winner. I hope that helps. If you see anything wrong with this, because I just whipped these together this morning, and I was in mourning when I whipped them together this morning, not just in the morning, give me a polite reminder of what I did wrong, and we could probably fix it. Thanks.